Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Spotlight. We have here Brian Talbot, who is a marketing mentor, joining us. Super excited for our conversation. He has a lot of experience in the marketing industry and working with all type of C-suite and CEOs. Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Ada. My name is Brian Talbot, and I am a fractional CMO and a marketing mentor. I have been helping SMBs grow, double or triple their revenue size in a very short period of time for the last dozen years now. And I do it through a system and a process that I developed after spending many years working both in house and at agencies all around the United States.
Awesome, thank you so much. Brian, today we have AirDNA, which is a company that we'll be looking at. So I'm just going to show their website so we're all on the same page about what we're going to see.
Sure.
So I understand that they are vacation rental insights company, help you invest, analyze and invest wiser. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Basically, they provide an incredibly valuable function. Most people who go into the Airbnb business don't have access to, or don't even think about, oftentimes, doing the detailed research to figure out what the market really looks like. Right. So I think there's an incredibly valuable solution that they offer for Airbnb owners or short term rental owners in general. So.
That's awesome because
It's
it's
interesting.
something that is really growing.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
interesting when I look at this because it immediately makes me think of how valuable this tool is. When I look at a company, I always approach it by taking a look at their market, their message, and then their map. And when I say their market is, who's their target market, who's their best buyer. And we really need to be able to understand that from the get-go. If we can understand that, that feeds everything else that we do, right? So understanding the market, once we have a good solid understanding of where our sweet spot is and who we really serve the best, then we can go ahead and develop messaging, targeted messaging, to be able to reach out to those people using key message points and core values, and not only who you are and what you do, but what really makes you better and why that matters to your customers, right? So if we can figure out those parts of the brand messaging, then we can move into the map, and the map is the strategic roadmap. And the strategic roadmap is, if you think of the storytelling, is what you say, right? Your brand messaging, and your brand identity. Then the strategy is where you say it, right? And so to be able to figure
Yeah.
out the best ways to get out there, you need to have goal strategies, execution, and resources to deliver on all that. And that's really where my services come in. And that's what I help companies with, both the storytelling and the strategy sides of life. So I think AirDNA has done a very good job with a lot of this stuff. One of the things that I think that one of the opportunities I think they have is to, now that they understand their market very clearly. They've developed a great product. They have a solution that works. They have a message that should resonate with their target audience. Um, Now it comes down to that strategic execution, right? Planning, setting goals,
Absolutely.
planning your strategies, and creating the tactics and processes, the execution that makes it all work. And that's where we get into the buyer journey.
Absolutely. I was just going to say this almost like growing a plant that you can just water it once and expect it to grow is something that you have to care for it. And just several steps that you need to take for it to actually grow and give you those juicy tomatoes. So really excited to dive into this since we want to educate or viewers on why is this important and how we can take a simple plan to something that is could be really valuable, for example, for AirDNA. So I'll leave the spotlight to you. This is the plan that we have today. If someone comes to you with no data and basically you know just by looking at the website who they are? How would you approach this plan?
Well, this is a really good basic plan, right? In step one, it's a downloadable give to get touch point, right? So what it does is it establishes two-way engagement by exchanging value for value, and the value that they're getting is something that that they really want in the insights. But then the value that AirDNA would get from this is customer interaction and building that permission to move forward with the relationship and build it to the next stage, right? By the time you get into step two, it's measurable proof against competitors, which helps position AirDNA as the leader in the available solution for that target audience. And by the time you get into to step three, you're presenting a high value offer, right? It is a proof of concept that isn't generic, but it's really specific to the individual situation. It allows that buyer to say, "Hey, this really works." And that's a great step. Now, the one thing that's kind of missing from this for me is what happens before step one? How do we get there, right? How do we find those right people? And so, I'm going to talk about what I would add in there is something that a lot of people say, email's dead. And it's funny
Yeah,
because I've been doing marketing for decades now, and they have been saying email's dead since just about the time I finished my first decade of marketing.
really.
But email is actually very alive and very helpful. And I think if you set up inbound and outbound marketing with landing pages, those are great ways to softly introduce and allow people to find you so that they can ask for that step one downloadable, right? And so if we add that into the mix, then we'll be able to open it up and use the landing page and promote that through social media, promote that through inbound and outbound, and be able to get an extended reach so that we can get a bigger audience that comes in, takes a look around, and says, "All right, sure, tell me more. Send me the downloadable, right? Here's my email. That's what I'm giving you. You're giving me some pretty valuable information. We can start the journey." So all the way along, starting up to that point, we're trying to get them to our door. Then we start the conversation in one, two, and three. Right. That's when the dance begins. And the longer we dance together, the more attractive the solution becomes. Right. By step four, we dig into the details. This is a really crucial part because this is where you want to make sure that you make it easy for them to say yes. And then the decision point comes right in between four and five, right? They have to make the decision. Is this something we're moving forward with, or is this not? Right? And if they say yes, then we can start to show them the value that they're expecting. And that's with the custom dashboard. We can prove that they've made the right decision because they're getting the information that they specifically requested. Right? Six sets them up for success because we need to make sure that the technology is set up right so it'll work right for them. And then in seven, the support and onboarding is so important. I've been involved in a lot of different technology companies over the years, and technology by itself, software rarely fails. The hardest part of any software implementation is the change management that goes into having users adopt the technology. Technology works fine. Getting people to use it is where the challenge usually is. And especially in something like AirDNA, right? If you put a lot of effort and energy into your onboarding and your support, then you can do customer check-in calls. You can do customer satisfaction. You can create those feedback loops that are going to be essential to be able to drive success with the tool and success with their software and that drives a longer engagement period, better lifetime value, renewals, and better cash flow altogether. Which is bottom line. That's how you get the success out of the organization.
100%. Thank you so much. What would you say are the major takeaways that you would give for a company like AirDNA if they want to implement a plan like this? What in
Make sure
terms
that
of
you set up
approach?
more lead capture on the front end, right? Um, I like some of the demos. I like the demo concept. I like the give to gets and all that. But make sure that you have broader ways of doing outreach. That can be social media. That can be paid media. That can be make sure you have landing pages set up to do all that. And feed that front end, because if you can feed the front end of the buyer journey, that's really then it gets them the opportunity to discover and explore if you might possibly be the right solution for them. Once you move them into the buyer journey, that's your job to convince them that this is the right solution for them. So
Lovely. I know that you're really great with email marketing, and you mentioned about editing on the first steps. Would you do any other connections of email marketing with all of these other steps of the journey?
yeah, I mean, this buyer journey would require a lot of hands-on, right? A lot of checking back. When you do things like downloadables, you want to make sure that you stay very closely engaged with them from that point on. It's easy for someone to go ahead and do that and get some information, get busy, and perhaps never look at it again,
Mm-hmm.
right? So there's a constant follow up that's required, and some of that may be email, some of that may be telephone. Good old telephone really works. So those are some of the best options, or video meetings, or however you want to do it, right? Even text, as long as you get permission. Don't text someone without permission. Nobody likes that. But yes, each there should be constant communication between each step as you go, because at each step you're gaining more permission to continue moving forward down the journey. So that's a really important part of it all. Buyer journeys don't happen by themselves. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Yeah,
So make sure you're always working it diligently, and each customer is unique. Each customer is different, and understand your customers the same way you understand your market.
100%. Thank you so much, Brian. Are there any other highlights that you want to add before we wrap it up?
I think this is great. I have so many clients who don't get involved in customer journeys and buyer journeys. Instead, they just jump right into tactics,
Yeah.
and then they don't understand why it's disconnected or why it's not working as well as it should. And so, in their frustration, they jump into more tactics. And,
More
it's
acts.
the old throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something's going to stick somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And that's not an effective way to do marketing. You'll burn through a lot of money, a lot of resources, and you may or may not even come close to getting your results, right? Have a plan, have goals, have strategies, have an execution path of tactics and processes. And from there, you can then assign your resources adequately and then measure the progress along the way to make sure that you're meeting your strategies and delivering on your goal.
Really glad you brought that up. I think it's super important, and for people to understand that marketing is a lot about testing out, having different approaches, and for you to be able to find that message that at that time is going to work, but eventually, probably 2 to 3 months later, you're going to have to tweak it. You're going to have to try more things.
Yeah.
So super valuable. Thank you so much, Brian. If someone wants to contact you or learn more about you, where can they find you?
You can always reach me at bt at the value CMO. or just go to thevaluecmo.com. All my contact information is there, a little bit about my fractional work, and I am in the process of developing online courses that follow up on my processes and methodologies. And that's called My Marketing Map, which is a part of the Value CMO.
Awesome. I am 100% sure that's super valuable. So, hoping
Thank you.
someone reach out and get to learn more about you. Thank you so much, Brian. This has been great. You've been a great guest. So, I hope you have a great day.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you, Ada.